Behind me is this beautiful Yosemite Mountains. This is the first time I've returned to talk about why I did that study in 1983. Ascending the Heights speaks of the grandeur of God and the greatness of God and why He deserves our praise. I used the Hebrew words from the Old Testament out of David's life to illustrate this very important concept. In the English language, praise is praise, but in the Hebrew, it takes on a whole new dynamic. For instance, the word shabach means to express yourself with a loud voice, and it's used many times in the Old Testament. Halah is to be clamorously foolish. Now, when you think of clamorously foolish, you might say, that's just foolishness. But when David came in and gave God praise when he was bringing the ark back to Jerusalem, if you remember, he was praising and dancing and singing, and that would be the halah. And then we have words like yada. Yada is a word that means I will lift up my hands and give praise to God. And it's used over 100 times. That means we express ourselves by the lifting up of our hands. There's an expression to this kind of praise that is necessary. And God deserves that kind of honor and praise. But there's one word that's tied to halah, which is tehalah in the Hebrew. Tehalah, I think, has become my favorite term for praise. It is the word that is used when the high praises of God are declared. And so we have this idea of tehalah in the Hebrew, and when Jehoshaphat went into battle against the invading armies, we are told that he went out with the singers. So the singers went out in front of the armies of Israel, and they began to give praise to God, and that is the word we have in the Hebrew, tehalah. And those were the high praises, and whenever the high praises were actually sung or expressed throughout Scripture, there was always the discomfiting of the adversary, the discomfiting of the enemies of God. And so the tehalah are the high praises. And that is why we need to give praise to God who has sanctioned us and given us of His sovereignty and grace. And so as I stand here in Yosemite and look at the mountains, I think of ascending the heights.